on just a second, Anwar. I'm going to introduce you guys to some Eagle Scholar graduates.
I see one of them is from last year. I forgot her name.
You got two. All righty. So let's start with, okay, Anwar, I need you to mute. I'm going to ask the Scholar graduates to go ahead and introduce yourself. So go ahead, let's start with Adriana. And once you introduce yourself, I want you to pass it to the next panelist. And then panelists just keep passing until you get to the last person, and then I'll start asking questions. Go for it, Adriana.
All right, hi everyone. My name's Adriana, as you guys know, and I am attending the University of North Texas at Dallas. It's a very small campus. This upcoming fall, I'm going to be a junior, and I'm also minoring in Spanish. And I'll pass it on to America.
Hi everyone, my name is America, and I graduated from the University of North Texas in Denton this past December. I got my bachelor and my master of science in accounting, and I'll pass it on to Jerry.
Hey, it's you. My name is Gerardo Guerrero, but people just call me Jerry. I attend at Texas State University. I am going to be a senior starting fall 2020, and I'm majoring on theater production, and I also plan on getting a master's. I'll pass it on to Sweet.
Hello, my name is Sweetheart, and I'm currently a senior at Texas A&M Commerce. I'm studying education, and yeah.
Awesome. All righty. So scholars, as you know, you can ask, just go ahead, and if you have questions for our panelists, you can ask anything you want in the chat. So you can ask about their college experience, their high school experience, struggles that they had, what they want to do in their future, anything like that. So just type it in the chat. But I'm going to go ahead and start with some questions while you guys are thinking of your questions. And so let's start out by talking about, so I want you to tell me about your experience in high school, where you went to high school, and maybe some of the things you were involved in high school to get you ready for college. So let's start with Swee on that one.
I went to Conrad, and high school was really fun. I especially like senior year because it's very similar to college, because during senior year, I was doing managing everything, balancing out life. I was in school most of the time, and I think I was having to work on scholarship versus school, and then I had to know how to balance it, because if I didn't, then it's either I'm going to get a good grade or I might lose on scholarship. But knowing how to balance those two really helped me. And senior year was fun, but it was stressful though.
Okay, Jerry, how about you?
Well, for a large 3 years portion of my high school career, I attended at, I forgot the name, Richardson High School, RHS, but then I transferred onto Conrad for my senior year, just because I knew Conrad would have more opportunities for me to apply to scholarships and all that. And, you know, it was more connected towards ESU. So it was just more in my favor. But like senior year was the best. It was just so much fun, honestly. And just like Sui said, there's a balance between having fun and taking it serious, because your senior year, you know, like the first half, like during fall, you're gonna have to you know, do your scholarships, your college applications, work on your SAT if you need to. But then like towards the spring semester, you have more fun with your friends and all that stuff.
Cool. What about you, America?
High school. I started off at Conrad. I did one semester at Conrad, and I transferred to Hillcrest. So at Hillcrest, I became involved in as many organizations as I could, while trying to maintain that balance, schoolwork. And I just knew high school is very important. Starting ninth grade, 10th grade, your grades, they'll determine whether or not, I don't know, I knew I had to focus on my grades. So I had to make sure I was on top of my work while also joining organizations, which, would look good on, besides having fun, it would look good on my college applications. And I remember senior year, I kind of waited a little too long to fill out college applications, which I do not recommend anyone doing. I was kind of not really lost, but I didn't know what colleges I wanted to go to, what I wanted to major in. And I'll just go ahead and say this. If you don't know what you want to major in right now, it's okay. During your senior year, it's okay. Just go ahead and try to apply to as many colleges as you can. Stay on top of scholarship applications. Just fill out any scholarship opportunity that you can. There's just stay on top of scholarships for sure. Because I know I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to afford college. And I feel like that fear kind of fueled my motivation to go stay connected with ASP, which is just that college program during high school. I don't know if y'all have heard of it. And I just filled out as many scholarship applications as I could, and I managed to get all my college paid for, which I'm really happy for. But yeah, like they said, as well as y'all said before, fall was really stressful. I will admit I had a breakdown or two, but during the spring, it's better in the spring. You feel accomplished because you start getting those acceptance letters, and it's like, oh, congratulations, you've been accepted to this university. Congratulations, you received a scholarship, and just kind of huge weight off your shoulders. Just putting the work during the fall, not just your senior year, but throughout your entire 4 years at high school, just focus on your grades, focus on staying active on campus, networking with people, and just making friends. So yeah, that's my high school experience.
And Adriana.
Yes, high school. So high school for me, I would say that going into my freshman year, I slacked. And then starting my sophomore year, that's when I started getting I didn't slack, but I did get good grades, but I wasn't really focused. I didn't really have a goal. And then my sophomore year and everything, I started really looking into my GPA, wanting to get it higher, and just wanting to be a straight A student. And a lot of that was that I had friends, but I didn't hang out with the right friends. I hanged out with a lot of friends that actually didn't graduate high school with me. And I'm actually still in contact with those friends. So what had happened was that I usually hanged out more with guys than with girls, but they weren't really the best influences. But I just want to let you guys know that it's okay to have friends that might, be bad, not bad influences, but are leaning towards something else, as long as you yourself know what your goal is, and you have your head on that goal, and you're not able to get manipulated in any way, then you can definitely accomplish that goal. Because I'm still in contact with those friends, and I'm still grateful for what they taught me. So it's just managing friends as well, I guess, and also work. I had been working since I was 15 years old, and I really wanted to be involved in programs and stuff, but being involved meant having to stay after school and things like that, or coming in the morning to meetings. And I really couldn't do that because my job was I was a custodian, so I cleaned a private school and stuff like that, and I did that from 5 to 10 p.m. So as you guys know, out of high school, I went to Conrad, and you would get out at 4:15. So I would just have to rush home and go to work. And so I wasn't really able to join the programs that I wanted or the ones that I was passionate for. I did try, and when the persons that were over the programs did understand and help me, because I didn't work on Fridays, but Fridays was usually when the programs wouldn't hold meetings because it's like Friday. So it was really tough for me to like be in these programs and like get involved. But I tried my best. And Eagle Scholars was what really helped me because, of course, Eagle Scholars was in the summer, and like in the summer, it was from like 8 to like 4. So like that's the time I wasn't working. So I was able to get involved in that. But that was tough for me. But yeah, I started getting my stuff together like junior and senior year. So I kind of just focused more on like getting those good grades and doing my homework like late at night. Because honestly, I mean, like I am a night owl, so like I do everything at night. So I guess it went kind of well. And another thing was that, what was the other thing? I forgot. The other thing was that I also wanted to get dual credit because all of my, like, once I started, you know, making more friends and being more social, I saw a lot of people would take dual credit in Conrad. And I couldn't really focus on that because of my job and everything, and like balancing it and like helping out my parents with their bills because I paid rent at a very early age. And so I didn't take any dual credit, but I just like, I feel like it would have helped me. But even now, like I'm still taking obviously like English 1, English 2. But I would say that it's really cool if you guys have the opportunity to take dual credit. I think it's just important to know like what your limit is and like if you can take it or not. So it's very important to look at your limit and stuff like that. I felt like I couldn't do it. Maybe I could have. But yeah, it's just something important to look at your limit. And like everybody said, balancing stuff out. Only you know like how well you can take everything. So yeah, but my high school experience was great.
Ranjita, I'm getting to your question, but I'm going to ask Adriana just a couple more questions because I know she's going to have to hop off, and I want to make sure she gets her some time because she's got some really good things to say. So one, I want to say I was worried about Adriana because she was working so much. And yes, she probably knows that. I mean, I was trying to harass her because I was so afraid she was going to fall off and not get all of her stuff done. So I am proud of her for continuing that and keeping her head on straight and doing that, even in spite of me like harassing her, but she did it. But Adriana, can you also speak real quickly to just how like family expectations and how you managed what your family expected of you and how you felt about like going forward to college and all of that stuff, if you know, as much as you want to share.
Okay. So when I started off, I was, as they say, I guess I could say I was like the black sheep of the family. I'm actually the youngest out of 3, but like let's just say that my other 3 siblings were more, my family perceived them as more well-behaved and stuff like that. Just because I was also born in Mexico and I am documented. So what happened was that my mom kind of, it was more tough because my brothers had set like a little bit higher expectations, I guess. And you know, when you go to high school and everything and you see your friends and you see them like going to the movie theaters and I would see that their moms would take them to like dates with their boyfriends and stuff like that. And I would think that it was okay, but my family didn't see that as okay. Like having Mexican parents and stuff like that, they didn't think that having a boyfriend at like, well, to them, having a boyfriend at like 15, 16, even 17, 18, even 19 years old was like super bad. But I mean, to me, it was like normal. Not normal, but like seeing my friends do it and like their moms approve of it was like, okay, it's kind of normal to me. So like I started building this, like when my family found out that I did get a boyfriend, that I did have a boyfriend, I kind of built this image in their head that stayed in their head that I was like not a good student. Like they saw me as like not a good student and like not a good daughter and things like that. But of course, like other people, it wasn't like, to me, it didn't look like anything major, but to them it was because of our culture and like how we were raised and stuff like that. So they initially thought that my grades were always kept high, but just because of like that one thing and I still worked and everything and paid bills, but just because of that one thing and like the people I hanged out with, mostly they were guys. And so they always said like, well, why do you hang out with a lot of guys? Like, why don't you have girlfriends and stuff like that, right? But me, like, I'm just like a more social and like, maybe you guys have a lot of friends that are guys. Sometimes they understand you better. And like, that's okay. Like, it's okay if you don't have like all girls friends, like you don't have like all girls group. But my parents perceived me as like, okay, well, you're walking with guys and this guy is like, you know, they sag and stuff like that. And so they were like, you're going to go the wrong pathway. And their expectations were like, okay, you're definitely not going to go to college. You're like, and they wanted me to go to college, right? And they wanted me to go to community college. And they understood that like I was attending Eagle Scholars and everything, but my parents were like super strict. They were always like, show me a report card and stuff like that, right? And when they didn't want any like C's on there or anything like that. So it was super like strict and stuff like that. But my parents really started perceiving me as like, oh, and then like I also have this tendency of like talking back. Like if I see something that's wrong, like I will talk back, and to them that was like disrespectful, right? So like if you talk back to your parents, in many cultures it's disrespectful and things like that. And so I'm a very like outspoken person. Like I am very outspoken, which I used to think being outspoken was bad, simply because my parents would tell me like don't talk back to us, or like, and just trying to break that, you know, like I'm not a bad student, like I'm doing it right, like I wasn't like doing drugs or anything, but they saw it as like super bad having a boyfriend. So just having to like try to break that and speaking back to them was like super bad to them, and they were like, okay, you're bad. They would tell me like super bad things, and like they would like call me names, like even my brothers, and like I was close to like not going into depression, but like it hit me really bad. And that's kind of what motivated me to like show them that I was going to make it to college and things like that. And so eventually me and my mom like turned over that leaf, but we didn't talk about it because it's weird for like you to like sit down and have a conversation with your parent. It's super hard. You kind of just take what your parent tells you. And so she tells you to not talk back, you don't talk back. And so you guys never really talk about that. You guys don't really ever sit and have a conversation until like you're more grown and you're like, hey, remember back then when you would like, but yeah, so that was like really tough. And so they just expected me to, my grades were still good, but they just didn't think I was going to go to college and stuff like that. Or they didn't think I would talk to my mom about scholarships. A lot of parents don't understand that there's like free money out there that you can apply for. And as much as I tried to like explain it to them in Spanish, she didn't believe me, she didn't understand it, and things like that. So yeah, but eventually that's really what gave me that push, like my sophomore year and my junior year. Like, okay, I'm going to get my GPA high. I ended up, because I wasn't top 10% like my junior year, and then like I bumped up there my senior year. But the motivation was like my family telling me that like I couldn't do it. So I turned that, which was negative, but instead of letting it get to me, like I definitely like took that as like motivation to prove them wrong and like get myself out of there. So I feel like that really helped a lot. So it's not always bad. You guys can like definitely take that as like, you know, like just prove them wrong, like, because that's what I did. And like I ended up graduating top 10 and stuff like that. So it was just really cool because like everybody else was like, as you know, like if you graduate top 10, you have like the gold stool, and then everybody else has like the silver one. So just seeing your family walk that stage and be like, oh, like she graduated, you know. And then I eventually did get a scholarship. I got the Dream US National Scholarship, which is for like documented people. And I remember getting the scholarship and I couldn't believe it myself, but my mom didn't believe me either. She didn't believe I received a scholarship. So what happened was that she had to have my older brother, like my oldest brother, who's like, he was attending community college at the moment. He had to proofread it, and he had to like assure to my mom that I did get a scholarship because she didn't believe me. So it was like, it was then where I was like, okay, she still like doesn't believe me, right? So it's just like having to prove your mom constantly that she's like wrong about you and stuff like that. And then eventually, like when she realized that, okay, like I was doing good, was literally like the first day I moved into college into like the dorms. That's when she like she saw that, okay, like this is happening, right? But she didn't want to believe it. So it's just like, but because I think that like one image, like as soon as like you do something bad, it's easy for your parents to like perceive you as like a bad person and stuff like that. But it's okay to have like the friends that you want to have, and it's okay to like be outspoken. Don't feel like being outspoken is being bad, or talking back to your parents is being bad, or anything like that. And don't be afraid to ask your parents to have a conversation with you, or tell them like how you feel, because I regret not ever doing that. I should have had a conversation with my parents about my feelings, and I never did because I was afraid of them. So it's okay to like have a conversation with your parents and tell them like, hey, I want to talk to you, and maybe even pulling your siblings and seeing how they feel and stuff like that. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Adriana. And I know you've got to hop off in just a second. I know from what you said, a lot of scholars that I've talked to have similar experiences with parents, like where you said that your brother had to read it and then tell your mom because your mom didn't necessarily believe you. So I think that that's probably more common than a lot of people want to believe. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go to America because the question is, so I'm just going to kind of rotate. So you guys keep typing questions in there. America, tell us how to make friends if you're an introvert, and maybe how you evolved through that. If you guys might not recognize it today, but America was really, really quiet. So go ahead, America.
You're on mute.
Thank you for pointing that out. So like I said, I'm still kind of an introvert, but one of my goals going to college was to kind of break out of my shell a little bit. So my first year of college, I ended up signing up for all these clubs, and I kind of I joined a social club and academic club. As far as the social club, I joined Young Life. And I remember that first day that I showed up to the meeting, I was kind of just like overwhelmed because everyone already had their own group of friends, and I was just like the lone person. But eventually someone came up, be like, "Hi, what's your name? Where are you from? What are you majoring in?" Just kind of, they kind of like force you to kind of talk. So I guess that was kind of a good thing. And just participating in organizations to kind of really force me to get out of my comfort zone and, you know, meet new people. And people realize that you're more of an introvert, so they'll try to like talk to you to kind of get you going. So it worked out in the end. I actually met 3 of my closest college friends at Young Life, and yeah, I'm just happy. I just continue, you know, joining these organizations, and you know, I feel like that's the best way to try to make friends as an introvert. Kind of just go for a social club and academic club you're interested in, and, you know, just show up, and you'll have someone who comes up to you like, "Hi, I want to be your friend. What's your name?" So that's my experience. And like I said, I'm still kind of an introvert, but I just kind of worked my way to like come out of my shell, because it's important when it comes to job interviews and just jobs. It's very important to be social because you need to grow your network.
Awesome. Thank you. Anwar, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, I want to speak up. I don't want to type.
Go ahead.
So my question is, what kind of experience did you guys did during the high school and the college? You know, from the high school to the college, and what problem did you guys have?
So let's do Jerry on that.
All right, so experiences on high school. Well, I'm just gonna talk about my senior year.
You want to talk about what kinds of things you did in high school to get you ready for college, and how, because you became a theater major, a lighting. So how did you get involved with that stuff in high school and on in college, so that you could figure out, which kind of goes along with Raymo's question about how did you figure out what you wanted to do in college?
Well, I can see what Alberto's typing out, so I guess I'll just talk from what he's pointing out. So theater tech during high school, there was a class, and we were just, it was basically what we learned in high school is the equivalent to stagecraft. We would learn about the core elements of the little aspects of what you need to do in like theater as a production major. There's the woodworks, there's also audio, there's lighting, which is like what I'm proficient in. So what I took from that in high school is that my teacher, I'm actually kind of thankful because I feel like that's what we mainly did in high school, because that's what we were touching up on like the entire time. And so, because then I transferred on to Richland Community College, and I developed my craft more there. So but like it was kind of weird at first, because when I took this first stagecraft class at Richland College, there were students there who never touched a lighting instrument before. So I was kind of good in my favor, since high school kind of taught me like the little system of body of the light. So that was good in my favor. And another experience for me was the ESU's trips. Those were really helpful, honestly, because if I had gone to Richland College or any other college in general on my first day, I would have been lost. I wouldn't know where to navigate. So I'm thankful for like the ESU trips where we go to like the University of North Texas. We also go to like the one at Dallas. We go to SMU, and we also talk about like how the college as a whole is formed as a system. There's a whole system of where to go and how to navigate to college. There was also clubs. If you don't know what to do, like it's okay if you don't know what you're gonna major in or what you want to do in life. But that's why like clubs are for. There's many diverse different clubs out there. So especially in Conrad. So if you don't know what you want to do, just join them, and you can see if you like it. You can keep doing it if you want. But like again, there's many other clubs, and there's also a lot of clubs in ESU. I'm sorry, not clubs, classes in ESU. So also like ESU is just a really big help. They help out with the path that you choose. But I just want to let you guys to know, just know that there are many other things out there. So yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Sui this question. How is it living with a roommate? Did you get along? How did you handle disagreements?
Ooh. Let's hear it. I like to hear it. I'm excited.
I had different types of roommates. Freshman year, I had a great roommate. I didn't actually know her before, but coincidentally, our parents worked together. So she's also Chan, so which is very fortunate because in commerce there are not a lot. But we did have a suite mate, but our suite mate didn't like us. I don't know why. I don't know what we did to them, but I knew that they didn't like us because when we were out in public, they would like trash talk us like right in front of us. So it was very obvious that they didn't like us. But second semester, when in December, I guess they had an argument. So they both moved out of the room. So we had the room for the rest of the year, which was very good. Not that they were gone, but it was just better because we didn't have to like interact with them anymore since we knew that they didn't like us. So that was my freshman problem. We would sometimes fight over the bathroom. But sophomore year, I had a really great roommate. Last year I lived in an apartment and she's still my roommate. Sophomore year, I did have a really good roommate. At first, she was an introvert. Freshman year, we had like 3 classes together. We didn't talk to each other. We just knew each other from the class, and we never talked. And she did tell me that she didn't like me. I don't know how, but she never really got to know me. So we became roommate. And we just talked. We were like, and then we cleared up our misunderstanding and stuff like that, and we become a really great roommate. And junior year, we rented an apartment because in college, senior and junior, they they don't typically have dorms for them. So it's best that you live in an apartment. It's more convenient for you, and you know how to manage life better. Like you know how to do money management, just live with a roommate and then be an adult at that point. And I live with my freshman and junior sophomore roommate that I just talked about. But however, we did have this one roommate which I did not get along. It wasn't because I didn't like her or it wasn't because she didn't like me, but our living style is just very different. She does things certain way from her culture and I do things from my culture, and they just clash. And our personality also crashed. I'm very an organized person, but in her case, she is organized, but in her way, and then we just don't mix together. And I realized that so when picking a roommate, it is better to pick someone that is very like that, someone you can relate with, someone whose culture is very similar to you, so you can work it out. Because I realized that you have to room with people that are like that are similar to you and who has similar personality, because if you don't, then it clash, and sometimes you don't see eye to eye, and it's very hard because she was older than me. So when I talked to her about problems, she saw that as a disrespect. Like Adriana talked about it, in my culture you don't talk to an older person and be like, you don't point out their mistakes, but because to them that's being disrespectful. But we were living together as a roommate, but when I told her stuff that you shouldn't do this, and then she would find that disrespectful, so she would never really wanted to sit down and talk about it. So I had to tell my other roommates, like, can you tell her this? Then they would tell her, because she didn't want to talk to me, because to her I was being disrespectful, which I don't know how, but yeah, choose someone that you have the same interest with. So it will make your life a lot better. I promise.
All right. So I'm going to ask this to all of you guys, but I'm going to start with Alberto. So Alberto, how did Eagle Scholars help prepare you for college?
I didn't know I was answering questions this time around.
Oh, you're not on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Sorry, let me go. Sorry, Alberto. Let me go to America. I saw your name. I've got your name over here on my sheet, but it was for last week. I thought you had answered some of these questions already. Okay. America, how did Eagle Scholars prepare you for college?
Well, my years at Eagle Scholars, I really loved Eagle Scholars because Eagle Scholars was a way to kind of explore your college options with tours and just bringing in interns from different universities, asking them questions. It was a very interesting experience, and it kind of just, it helped me keep that, like, what I'm looking for. Like, oh, okay, UNT is right over here and they offer these kind of majors. UT Dallas is pretty close. Texas A&M, there's a lot of students there. They have a huge network, and yeah, just Eagle Scholars kind of helped me map out, or kind of offered me with an idea of what to expect in the coming years. I know as I started high school, like I said, there's the college tours, and then sophomore year it kind of went in more in depth, like, hey, you're going to have to take SATs, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to do that. Junior year, hey, you need to start preparing for your college applications. Like, here are some of the main topics that some of the more common Texas colleges ask for essays, like start drafting it. They helped me like get a kind of a head start on all of that. And I know my senior year of high school, they helped me by providing us with like a list of all these scholarship opportunities and just kind of getting a head start on all that. So Eagle Scholars was really helpful, kind of just mapping out like kind of helping us every step of the way, like, hey, this is coming up, you know, to stay on top of it. So yeah, it was a really great experience, and I feel very fortunate to have been part of Eagle Scholars, because that I was able to like graduate debt free from UNT. So thank you, Ms. Janet.
And let me ask you something else, because I know, so let me just tell everybody, America, she graduated in, wait, what are we in? In December, yeah.
Yes, yes.
In December, with not only her bachelor's degree, which you'll hear about like 4-year degrees. So that's typically what I mean, when you do 4 years, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 4.5, sometimes it's 5. But when you do your first degree, it's called a bachelor's degree. America graduated with a bachelor's and a master's. So she was able to do a dual program and graduate in 5 years with a bachelor's, and your master's is your next level up. So the other thing that America was able to do is she utilized the word that we talk about all the time, which would be, hopefully everybody knows this word. You can type it in the chat, networking. So America used her networking skills. And America, can you talk about, because now, so a lot of the thing that's difficult is when you get out of college, then it's like, oh my gosh, now I have to go get a job. And that's always scary. But America is already lined up with a job. Not only is she lined up with a job, she will be working for one of the top accounting firms. Do you call them an accounting firm?
Yes. One of the big four.
One of the top accounting firms in Dallas, and not in Dallas, in like the whole United States. Yeah. So she's like at the top accounting firm. That's amazing. So America, can you talk about how you were able to do that and what kinds of things you did while in college to get to that point?
So first of all, I want to go into how I landed in accounting. I know when I was applying for colleges, I really wanted to do aerospace engineering. But like I said, I was I went with the school that offered me the most financial aid, which ended up being UNT. And from there, like my first year, my second year, you usually take basics, and I ended up falling in love with accounting. I'm like, maybe I can major in this. So your basics are very important because it kind of gives you an overview of like, it kind of helps you determine what you're interested in. And like I said, once I took my basic accounting 1 course, I was like, this is it. This might be like what I want to major in. So I ended up like visiting advisors there at UNT, like, hey, how can I declare this major? What do I have to do? And I just kind of established a relationship with them. And they used to email me, hey, how are you doing? Do you still have any questions? And I just maintained that communication with them, network. And I know like I ended up declaring it as an accounting major. And as far as my professors, I'd visit them maybe once or twice during the year. It's like, hey, I have a question on this, and I just made up an excuse to talk to them. It's like, because professors notice students that go to office hours, and it's like, okay, this student, okay, cool, and those professors kind of like, once they realize you're a good student, they start noticing you more in class, and they start talking amongst each other and like, oh, have you noticed this student? Like, she seems very interested in this, maybe we have a job, we have like this employer who's looking for this, and they usually like think of you. I think my third year of college, I met with a graduate or a more specific accounting advisor. And I just was like, hey, I don't know like what other courses to take. Can you help me with that? And she just kind of helped me along the way. And, we developed this very like this good like relationship. And she was like, I remember she ended up one day, she's like, hey, are you interested in doing this internship? And I'm like, yeah, sure. She's like, all right, I'll go ahead and send in your resume. Hopefully I can have someone reach out to you soon. And a week later, someone reached out to me from from PwC, and they're like, hey, we have an internship. Are you interested? I'm like, yes. And they're like, all righty then. Go to this application, fill it out, and then we'll send you, we'll send you more details later. I'm like, great, So just maintaining communication with like your professors and like establishing those relationships with your advisors. They kind of they think about you. Like when jobs open up, they're like, oh wait, I know this really great student. Like she's really interested in this. And, let me go ahead and give you her resume. It's just establishing your network is very important. And without that relationship with my advisor, I don't think I would have, or it would have been a lot more difficult to get the job that I have right now. I feel like I had it very easy because of that. Like networking is just honestly is the way to go. That's how I ended up landing this really great job, and I feel very fortunate for that.
When you did that internship, was it a paid internship?
Yeah, so I did 2 internships. So that first internship was kind of just it's like kind of showed me what kind of job positions they offer. Just kind of like, I know I did an internship, the first internship, I kind of looked at risk, I'm trying to think about it, risk assurance. I looked into recruiting, and just kind of like, I worked in different departments, just kind of like, I was kind of like job shadowing. So it was a paid internship. It was about, I believe, 10 weeks long, and it was a really great pay. and then after that, if they realize that you're a good intern and you did a great job shadowing these people, and they offer you a second internship, which is basically like the main internship, you get to work with the clients. And yeah, I ended up landing a second internship after my first one. And then for my second internship, I landed a full-time job.
So a lot of times, just so you guys know, those internships that you have in college, sometimes they are paid, sometimes they're not. But like what America learned is she stayed connected to her professors. So a lot of times what people want to do is just stay invisible. If you stay invisible, nobody calls on you, nobody says anything to you, and you can just do your work. But what America did is she put herself out there. So even now, when school is going on like this in the spring, your teachers, I know Mr. King had office hours, I know Mr. Mancuso had office hours, and what they do is they'll say, this is a time when you can get onto my Zoom and you can, ask me any questions. And so what I want you guys to learn from this, even like when you come into the meetings in the mornings with us and I call on you guys and I embarrass you and you're like, oh my gosh, she just said my name. But those are the things it's important to get used to, because like what America learned is the more you do that, the more those professors know who you are. And the more they know who you are, when the job comes across their table or the internship, then they say, oh, well, this would be a great job for Benoit. I think I've seen him in my office a bunch of times. If they don't know who you are, they can't offer it to you because they have no idea what kind of quality work you would do, what kind of person you would be, do you have integrity and all of this stuff. So not only did America get paid internships because she visited their offices, she ended up getting a paid job, which pays very well. And she has, I don't know, I can't remember if she told me her salary or not, but I think it might be either close to mine, and I've been working for 25 years, or maybe above mine. And I've been working for 25 years. So yes, these are good opportunities. So make sure and network and make sure and attend office hours and just get to know your teachers. It'll also help you for letters of recommendation that you will need later in life. Like when you get to be a senior, you're going to need that. So if a teacher knows you, knows your quality of work, knows that you show up for everything, knows that you show up on time, they can write you a good letter of rec. So that's all important. Very, very important. Let's see. I'm going to go to the next question. So, oops, where did it go? Let's see. Jerry. So this is, Benoit's asking a fun question. So in your opinion, how accurately do movies depict college life? Are they relatable or just something that doesn't ever happen? What do you think, Jerry?
Well, I think they stink. Well, it depends on the movie that you watch. They mostly just get like the classic tropes down. They just, they say the studying portion of, a college, they get the roommate portion of it, they get the financial aid waiting line portion of it, just typical relatable stuff. But kind of what America said, they don't get down like the little things that, talking to your professors, they don't get down like the projects that you work on, and just other stuff like that. But for the most part, it's accurate, I would say. Yeah. But for me, like if you're like me, you wouldn't go to parties. I don't go to parties. I see them as a waste of time, because as a theater major, it's kind of your job to stay on campus. I barely hang out with my roommates just because I'm always at school. I honestly live at school more than I live on my dorm. So yeah, parties, if you want, you can go to it. It's up to you. Just know it does get crazy. I've seen Snapchat videos of some of my friends going there. I hear stories from my roommates about what goes down, but like again, I don't really care for it. So, it's all up to you.
All right. So hopefully, Benoit, you got that. Yeah, it can be like that. It doesn't mean you necessarily want to choose that route, though. So I'm going to ask a final question. So we've got a few minutes left, and I'm just going to ask a final question, and I want everybody to answer this. So we'll start with, let's see. Let's start with Sui. So what do you wish or hope that current Eagle Scholars knew, and what would you like to tell them? Or I guess, what do you wish that what they would learn from Eagle Scholars and stuff, and what advice would you give to the current scholars? Sui, you're on mute, I think.
There are a lot of advice, but I feel that most advice don't work unless you experience them yourself, because you can hear all the advice, but if you don't like personally experience it, it doesn't work because you don't know how to apply it. But I know that after working at Eco Scholar, I know that most of younger scholars, they tend to join because they think it's gonna be fun. You're gonna do fun stuff, but then when you get to like freshman year or sophomore year in high school, then you quit because that's where it gets down. Like you get serious, like you have to start practicing SAT, ACT, and then college classes, and then like essay, and that's when like all the fun kind of like stop, because that's what college is. Like it's fun, but also that's not everything about college. It's about actually getting your work done, like working hard. But then when you finish all that, you get that reward. So what I want for Eco Scholars to know is, if you join in 6th grade or 7th grade, like stay until your senior year and even after, because if you quit like freshman year or sophomore year in high school, like you kind of in and you kind of know about college, but you don't know. It's like getting like it's almost like getting a good grade, but you're not learning anything. It's kind of like that. So stay in Eco Scholar, even if it's not always about fun stuff. And another thing for seniors is that when you are filling scholarship, I realize this, fill out as much scholarship as you can, but go for the ones that are renewable. Because I work with freshman classes, and I realized that a lot of time we apply for these one-time scholarship that have bigger amounts. But however, when we get them all freshman year, sometimes we have trouble keeping those money. Like we might have problem where to spend it on. We might not all put it in our saving accounts. We might want to spend money on ourselves or other stuff for fun. So just realizing that if you do have refunds, make sure to keep it in your saving, because there is always a next year, because your freshman year is not the only time you will be in college. So in order to reduce risk of you losing money, I recommend applying for Renewable Scholarship. So they give you money what you need yearly rather than giving you all the money up front. And that was my advice.
Good advice. Let's go to Jerry. What would your advice be or hope for scholars?
Okay, the first thing that comes into mind is that this is not a race. You guys some of you are going to be in 7th grade. And you have a lot of time to figure out what you want to be and what you want to do in life. You don't necessarily have to have a plan, but it's always good to have one. For me, I kind of rushed things, and when I became a senior in high school, I was set on a plan of go to UNT. I really wanted to go UNT. I don't know why. It was just really weird, but I slowed down, and I kind of had this inner moment where it was like, do I really want to go here? Like, is this what I want to do? Because before I wanted to do something with like auto mechanics, and I was like, do I? And then I just needed some time for myself to take, like, is this what I want to do? And so instead of going to UNT, I went to Richland Community College. I don't regret it at all. Junior college, it's not for everyone, but it could be for everybody. So like, just take it slow, because again, like, to me, junior college was the best decision of my life, because it gave me time, 2 more years to like find out what I wanted to do. And at the same time, I saved a lot of money. And then, once I figured out what I wanted to do, that's when you do your research of like what school is the best option for you to go to. Because when I wanted to do lighting design, I was like, I don't think UNT is a good school for that. So that's when I started to do research, like good schools around Texas, and that's when I found out about Texas State University. And then I literally emailed like my mentor, who's now, and she's like, oh, just come over here, I'll teach you about everything. And so yeah, that's my advice.
Awesome. America, what advice would you give?
It's a lot of advice I could give, but just hitting the main points. High school is very important. Take it very seriously. Freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior, your grades, they will all impact you, like determine how good of a scholarship you'll receive. SATs, don't wait until last minute to take them. Don't wait until your junior or senior year. If possible, take them sophomore year, start sophomore year, so that if you don't like your score, you can retake it again junior year. If you don't like it then, retake it senior. But starting your SATs, ACTs as soon as possible. And yeah, just don't wait on that for sure. And fill out as many scholarships as you can, starting your spring semester junior year, your fall semester of senior, and just keep going at it. Just, you'll get tired of it, but eventually everything will pay off. And yeah, that's mostly it. As far as scholarships, I know Sui says something about renewable scholarships. So I ended up getting a lot of one-time scholarships besides renewable ones. And my first semester, it was kind of weird because I had some grants as well, but they realized I had too many scholarships my first semester. They ended up deducting the amount of grants that I received. So basically, they took away like about $4,000 for financial aid for me, which I didn't know that was going to happen. So I ended up contacting several of my scholarship people, like committees, like, hey, is it possible? Can I hold off this scholarship until like my junior year of college? Can I use it then? And most of them, like, they're like, yeah, we can hold off on giving you this scholarship. And if anything, it kind of worked out in the end. Like I said, I did lose about 4,000 my first semester of college, but I learned and I didn't make that same mistake again. I contacted them like, hey, can you hold off until my second year of college? And yeah, many of them will be like, yeah, we can do that. And just be sure to maintain contact with them so that they won't forget about you or like they won't think that you're just pushing that scholarship off. And also, don't be afraid to reach out to Miss Jan or anyone else of the scholars if you have any other questions. Like, I'm on Facebook. Send me a message like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm an Eagle Scholars. Like, I have a question. I need help. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. Like, I'd be more than happy to help anyone, and I'm sure everyone else as well. And let's see what else. As far as applying for colleges, kind of look into what kind of majors you want to go into or what you're interested in. I know, like I said, I was interested in aerospace engineering or possibly nursing, or or playing on the safe side of business school. So I kind of just applied to universities that kind of had all those majors so that if one major didn't work out, I can easily switch to another one. And yeah, just apply and apply scholarships, and don't be afraid to ask any questions. Yeah.
And I'm going to second that too, because what America figured out. So unfortunately, America was on the beginning of our learning curve, but we now have that figured out. So yes, please reach out, because that whole $4,000 that she lost, we have learned how not to lose that anymore. So, but you have to reach out and let us know and communicate with us. All right, we're a little bit over time. So Adriana, since you work with scholars all the time, anyway, this summer, I'm just going to ask you to make it real short and give your like one bit of advice that you would give to all of the scholars, if you could.
Yes. So my one bit of advice would be that you guys, I mean, I know a lot of you guys are like, of course, growing up in Vickery and going to Conrad, and a lot of you guys know each other. You guys have a huge impact on your friends. Like, you guys have your friends will listen to you. So like, if you have a friend that goes to Eagle Scholars, like, or you have a friend that's young and can enter Eagle Scholars, you push them. And I want you guys to like tell them like, this is what this program does. This is how it's helped me, because it could really push someone to like end up in this program, and then for them to end up loving them and stuff like that. And you guys know this program is really going to help you throughout right now for college readiness, and then when you graduate. So I just want you guys to like to know that you guys have a huge impact on friends. And another thing is that don't stay in your bubble. Like, I know that it's easy to like be an Eagle Scholars and like stay with your friends and like not like, there's a lot of diversity and not spread out. Like, one thing I wished when I was a scholar was to like maybe, spread out and like talk to other scholars and stuff like that. But I didn't do it, I guess because I was afraid, and it was just easy for me to stay with my friends. But don't be afraid to like learn about other people's cultures. Don't be afraid to like talk to other people, sit at another table and things like that. Like, definitely like, explore and stuff like that, and find out new things about other people. And yeah, so that's my advice.
Awesome. And graduates, if you would, some of you guys, America has already started putting hers in. Sweet started putting hers. Jerry and Adriana, if you can drop your contact information in the chat. And scholars, please write those down. These are your fellow scholars that have gone through college already, that are either in college or have already graduated. So see them like your big brother, big sister, because that's who they are. They're so willing to help you, so willing to help you. That's why they're here on a Friday afternoon instead of just hanging out at home. So I just want you guys to know that. I want you to connect with them. And stay in contact with them, because they are just as important as those professors. So those professors that America was talking about staying connected with the scholars, because like America already has a job. The more you get to know America, if you want to go into accounting, who knows, she may be able to recommend you for a job. So network, and start with what you know. Jerry's going into theater. If you guys are interested in that type of world, like the theater world, who knows, he's going to have a job before you do. And so the more you stay in contact with him, maybe he can help you work into that. So those networking skills are super important, but do it right within, right here. So I don't have anything else. And I know we're a little bit over time, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting for today. But I want to say thank you to Sui, to Adriana, to America, to Jerry for coming and joining us and giving us your wisdom today, because you guys are fantastic and awesome. So if anybody wants to stay on for a little bit, I will be on, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the live feed. And